Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. The beginning of the potential end of the longest government shutdown ever started when a group of moderate Democrats reached a deal with Republicans to reopen. But they did it without securing health care subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, a big sticking point for Democrats in this fight. WRAL's Ashley Rowe looked into what the impacts of that will be as this deal continues to move forward. Ashley, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, at the time that we're talking, it's the afternoon on Tuesday. A lot of development still to happen here, but, it's looking positive, I think it's fair to say. So, okay, obviously the big thing that we're going to be talking about here are these subsidies, because those are the big headline. But what else does this funding deal affect?
Well, this is a huge thing. Federal workers will be getting paid again. Furloughed workers will be getting back to work. And there are so many people who have been working without pay. And so they've been going on this now for over 40 days without pay. So that's a huge thing. But of course, then also SNAP benefits will get back up fully funded again. And then there's the federal agencies and departments that will be running more fully. Think the FAA. And we've, of course, been covering all of the airports that have been dealing with slowdowns because of all of the workers that are working without pay and are calling out and are causing a lot of issues with our air traffic controllers and TSA lines.
Yeah, and obviously those have had big impacts on so many of our everyday lives. So getting to the end of a shutdown would be very, very important here on that subject. But again, the Democrats, when this all started, they were really focused on keeping those subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. What are these subsidies? What does that mean for people?
So these are enhanced subsidies. And that's where the confusion kind of lies, is it's not like all subsidies are gone, but enhanced subsidies are gone. And this impacts a whole lot of Americans. Essentially, if you think back to 2021 with the American Rescue Plan, there were enhanced subsidies put in place at that time. And that allowed for, firstly, people to get greater amounts of subsidies. It also allowed for more people. It expanded the eligibility. More people were able to get subsidized health care insurance through the marketplace. People who were earning more than 400% of the federal poverty level. What does 400% mean? That means if you're a single person, somebody who's making about $71,000 a year, a family of four, about $125,000 a year. So this was impacting a lot of people. And if we just bring it to this year alone in North Carolina, there's an estimated 68,000 North Carolinians who have a marketplace plan with an income greater than 400% federal poverty level. So that's 68,000 North Carolinians who are utilizing this enhanced tax credit, enhanced subsidy, which is set to expire at the end of the year.
Right. And that, of course, at a very basic level, lowers the cost of their health care.
Exactly.
So, I think an easy question there is, why would Republicans want to let that particularly enhanced subsidy expire? What's the argument?
Well, let's get back to, firstly, just how much more people are going to be paying. So people could be paying $2,000 a month who were previously paying $500 a month. Wow. I mean, we're talking about doubling, tripling, in some cases quadrupling the amount that they have been paying in their health insurance premiums. So these are big numbers for folks. And again, we're not talking about people who are super high income earners. These are your middle class Americans. But there are a number of arguments against the expansion. One is that the expansion adds incredibly to the American deficit. The Cato Institute, a conservative think tank, has estimated that it would cost about $350 billion more to our deficit. There are also allegations of fraud within, so people who are fraudulently applying for and getting the ACA marketplace health insurance. So there are a number of concerns that people have. And really, this was pretty much a non-starter for a lot of Republicans in Washington. And that's ultimately what led those 8 Democrats in the Senate to say, okay, we're not getting anywhere with this holdout, and we're not getting anywhere with trying to convince Republicans to budge on extending this. And so we're just going to have to get a promise from the Republicans that we will be able to tackle this in an up-down vote in December. And so that is what led the Democrats to say, okay, well, at least we've got this promise for a December vote. So let's move forward because we know so many people are suffering without their SNAP benefits. Our airports are nuts right now. And so that is sort of how we got to this point.
Okay, let's take a quick break right there and we'll be right back. Ashley, before the break, we were kind of going through the stage setting here for all of this, how many North Carolinians this would affect, all of that stuff. Who are the North Carolinians that would be affected by these subsidies going away?
The Affordable Care Act has grown immensely in enrollment in North Carolina alone. We look back to 2014, there were about 300,000 people who had enrolled in Marketplace. This year, there are nearly 1 million people who have enrolled in it, which tells us that a lot of people are relying on the Affordable Care Act for their health insurance. And as I mentioned before the break, there are an estimated 68,000 North Carolinians this year alone who are making more than 400% of the federal poverty level. These are the people who will be paying full freight in 2026 for their health insurance. Could be twice, 3 times, 4 times what they are used to paying. So that's going from paying $500 a month for your health premiums to $2,000 a month for your health premiums, which is a huge chunk of change. And even though, yes, these people are making more than 400% of the federal poverty level, it's not like we're talking about huge income here. We're talking about maybe $125,000 for a family of 4. So this takes a big chunk of their monthly budget and puts it towards health insurance premiums, where it's previously been going to paying for groceries, their rent, their mortgage, other things like that. And so people are having to make some serious decisions here. And when we talk about, the actual lived experience and the impact, asking folks, well, what are you going to do next year? They're saying, I don't know. I might have to be uninsured. I might have to drop health insurance altogether because I don't think I can pay $2,000 a month, and I don't have any other option.
Right. And so this is where that vote that you talked about, that the Democrats are saying, okay, at least we'll hopefully get a vote on this in December. That's where that, I would think, becomes important, because where do we go from here?
Yeah, I was speaking with a soybean farmer in Wayne County, and she said, I'm holding on to hope. I'm a person who's a positive thinker, and I'm hoping for a silver lining here. I can't imagine that lawmakers are going to leave me high and dry. I'm hopeful that I will be able to get affordable health insurance next year. But I asked her, well, what happens if you do wind up having to pay $2,000? And she said, I really don't know. These are really serious decisions that people are having to make. She's a farmer. Farmers are a significant portion of the folks who are utilizing the Affordable Care Act. We're also talking about small business owners. We're talking about chiropractors, dentists, hairstylists, estheticians, musicians, artists. These are the types of people that are utilizing it, not the folks who have employer-sponsored health insurance.
Right. And so how soon will people see their health insurance go up? Would it be, as soon as this deal is reached, or would it be 2026?
Right now is when the enrollment period is happening. Enrollment for Affordable Care Act Marketplace goes until January 15th. So people are having to make their decisions right now. And they've got a few weeks to wait and see what happens in Washington, but not that long. And so the recommendation from the folks who help people navigate this stuff, they're saying you've got to just bite the bullet and make a decision today, because the alternative is no health insurance. So start thinking about what your options are. Maybe you need to go with a bronze plan instead of a silver plan, because maybe that'll help offset the monthly premium. You might not get as much coverage in the end when you go to the doctor, but at least you're not paying as much monthly. So these are the real consequences of all of this.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. We appreciate your reporting on this. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and for making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. You can sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.